Welcome to Galactic Goddess podcast and show. This is Deprogrammed, part 7 with Alanna, Starr, Shimel. She has been on our show for Deprogrammed, and today we're going to discuss and introduce Goddess Sophia of the Sophia Wisdom. We've mentioned her before. Alanna has shared in the past about Sophia, the false goddess, Sophia, the robot. And today we're going to talk about Goddess Sophia, the organic, authentic, majestic goddess. So take it away, Alanna.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, I was really excited that you asked me to do this tonight. Actually, I've been wanting to talk about it more, and so I'm glad that you decided to ask me to do this show on Sophia, which you might also catch me saying Sophia, because I've learned from different teachers who describe her name differently. So Sophia, they both feel natural. I guess the name Sophia is more like the name Sophia, like a girl's name, versus Sophia of wisdom. So yes, it means wisdom in Greek, and it is known as the mother of all creation type of energy. She's connected. When I say she, it's the female archetype of Godhead, the mother, the creatrix, she who creates. And so we know that there's like a Holy Ghost, Holy Spirit type of association with Sophia as the mother, as the missing aspect. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of other people who are connected to her that have met her through an inner knowing. Mm-hmm. So it has to do with Gnosticism. It has to do with the Archons, how we got in this physical plane. Apparently she is Mother Earth. And so there's many different aspects that we can go into to discuss it. But basically what we're trying to do is show the correlation between deprogramming, the show of deprogramming humanity and getting them on the right path, and how it relates to Sophia wisdom, because it's the wisdom of nature and of the earth,
organic,
our organic structure that will heal us and really help us be on the same path as the mother, which is in the original blueprint archetype. So apparently also she has to do with the mandala effect, and that she's actually communicating with a lot of us right now. So I'm going to let you just take over for a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. There, the goddess and the Godhead, she, Sophia, and also like Shakti, that they come, I don't know if you're familiar with Shakti, like they come.
It's absolutely Shakti.
Yeah, Shakti energy, which is really the energy that I work with. But it's also Sophia, because the goddess is the goddess, the divine goddess is the goddess. She is the mother creatress, and then there's God, the father creator. And I mean, they recreate themselves in so many ways, but always coming from one source, always organic. They don't need technology because they're above technology, and we have the ability to activate like codes within us that connect us back to that source, Shakti, Sophia energy, which is the divine holy energy. And it's interesting because like she also has an aspect of her that's like the dark mother, which is interesting because that's kind of like Kali. All of the goddesses, they're just different aspects of the same, I think, and in many of our episodes, we've talked about the inorganic takeover, AI and transhumanism, and how that takeover is putting us on well, not all of us, but putting some people on a different timeline, because we're sort of choosing our timelines right now, the ones that we're going to be on. And, it's important that the Sophia energy is coming forth again. And her teachings are really resonating. I just had a man actually reach out to me and tell me that he's been resonating with Sophia. And I was like, that's incredible. That's incredible that men are feeling her energy too. But it's time for us to get back into that organic energy, because everything that is destroying our future is based upon the non-organic takeover the dark matter and the dark virus, you know, that we had talked about in our previous episodes, the AI that wants to start connecting into us. And once we get on that path, it actually has a blunt, hard ending, and it goes back into the mother womb, because there's no room for creation. Once you disconnect from source so much, you're going to hit a hard wall, and it's going to go, loop, I'm going to eat you back up into source, right? I mean, where else are you going to go? And so I'd love to hear from you more about Sophia and her purpose here now.
Yeah, there's two challenges right now that I'm facing is I'm trying, I think I mentioned before that I'm trying to be a better listener, because wow, when you start talking about things, like you really describe things that it is just like that, what you described is like, there's all these walls that we hit when we're disconnected from the source. But the challenge is like listening so I can make sure I respond correctly. But there's so much that comes through. You mentioned about the like the dark womb, and I pulled out this because the timeline and the lineage, it has to do with coming from a direct source of something. And I think that the organic structures are the ones who were created here. Don't know what color skin they are, because I don't know. I feel like we just manifest over and over again. You don't know what you were last time. That's why I think racism is so funny, because I'm like, you could have been black in your last life. Like, you don't even know who you were. Like, it just makes me laugh, because we all think we know so much. And but the truth is that there's so much that we don't know, right? But the true portal, the womb. So I think that there's also information about the womb here, that there's an actual womb in the earth somewhere, there's different portals, right? So when we look at Sophia as a divine archetype, she's the mother aspect of creation that is associated with Christos. It is the light and matter coming together. But so she fell out of the pleroma. Are you familiar with the pleroma?
Yeah, but let's share it with the audience, because I'm sure they want to.
So the pleroma is, I want to make sure that I have proper terms down, so forgive me. I have to look this up really fast, because I can tell you my version of what I think it is, but we'll go in circles until you know exactly. So in Gnosticism, it's a spiritual universe as the abode of God and the totality of the divine powers of emanations. So that dwells in Christ. So isn't that funny? So the pleroma in itself, it has to do with like the emanations of light, which I think are associated with the planets, and also as those, if you see the Kabbalah tree of life, there's the emanations on the top that represent the Godhead. And so it's almost like the Milky Way galaxy, the liquid light. So it comes out and creates, and it comes down into the lower realms. And so she was a creator, and they said that she loved her creation so much that she fell into it and began to create things. And so the Archons are what exists on the outside of what she created inside the womb. So, but she created, and so she couldn't recognize herself. So it created all these issues and things that are now being corrected. They call it Sophia's correction. So the pleroma, going back to that, it is like that emanation of light. And so when she fell from that, she fell from grace, so to say, like every man does. They fall from the higher realms, which is limitless light, limitless love, the thought, because in the first universal law is that the world is a mental thing first. It was created by the thought first. And so if we think about where that comes from, that's that liquid light, that's that source, and that is where I'm talking about. Okay, so
those are part of the light codes that I talk about too, and that how we can activate those light codes in us, and how it's our divine right to activate those codes, and it's time to reactivate. But please continue. Sorry,
yes. No, thank you. It's no problem when you intertime. Yeah. So this is where they take in Sophia's story and they feed it back in all these different ways. But the real true story, from what I know, is that it was the fall of the mother of Ma'ater, because she fell into the earth and became she fell into the earth. And so we've had many different archetypes of goddesses that walk the earth, but they always somehow relate back to the mother of all creation, the first. Of
course, yeah.
Whether she's Kali, whether she's Shakti, she's definitely related to Shakti, 100%. So I want to just ask forgiveness in a way for me being a little bit all over the place, because there's so much that wants to come through, and it is hard to keep it focused, because it's just a journey, having to kind of collect things from different places and put it together, and that. So she fell into the earth as she's Mother Earth, and that's why when they say the earth is alive and it's feeding us, it's nourishing us, because she is. And when we learn to respect the mother and Ma'ater and this earth physical plane, then things change for us, because we start working in accordance with her will. It's not just about you, because all of her parts have to be accounted for this healing to really go to plan here. And that's when I might have mentioned the mandala effect, but there's an author named John Lamb Lash, who I mentioned in the last video, that he created the Archon term, and he also has immense wisdom on wisdom goddess Sophia. He calls her Sophia. And then we have the goddess code from Kaira. Amazing information. We have Sophia Anaya. There's a lot of different people who are speaking about it that can really help you understand, just what we're dealing with here and how powerful it is, because it's the missing mother in the tree of life. It's the missing piece, the Holy Spirit. It says the Holy Ghost was a Gnostic creation, and its original name was Sophia. Valentinian Gnostics said that the world was born of Sophia's smile. So we also know about her, the Nag Hammadi text. We also know about, and they have the Pistis Sophia temple in Turkey, I think it is. I forget, or if it's in Istanbul, I don't really remember. But there is so much stuff everywhere. But how has humanity missed this huge mark?
Easily.
This is why the Disney it's like a mandala
because she's been distorted. And we've talked about this in past episodes about the priestess temples, which you and I both been in. I have past life memory recall about those temples. In fact, in Greece, in one of them, where it's like the end of the temple era, where we were being chased out of the temples, and it was like a really intense time where the feminine was being chased out of the temples, because it's feminine priestess. We were doing our feminine work, and the Sophia Shakti goddess energy comes through the feminine body archetype, right? And the earth is feminine, and so we are rectifying, I guess, recoding the really bad coding that went on there, and that's where I created the goddess activations, to help activate the goddess energy within the feminine, because the distortion has caused us to lose our identity with the divine feminine. And in doing so, it's caused so much distortion, mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. Once you distort your heart chakra and your mental distortion from that Sophia energy, the Shakti energy, that life force feminine energy, and we've been actually quite unplugged. Everything about the patriarchal system has really been about unplugging us from the feminine, calling us a witch, calling us a bitch, calling us a whore. All of these things that have distorted who we are as feminine, we are part of that, Sophia. We're part of that goddess energy. It's our birthright. And that's why this degrading of what's happened to the feminine has caused distortion and pain and suffering for all humanity. Not one person will go without the effect of the of the cause of distortion. So therefore you just
feel that mother wound missing.
Mean,
it's just like, that pain, you know, it's like she's that missing aspect is like, no matter what you do, you're still not like, why are people depressed? Why are people so sad when they have good lives too?
Yeah.
You know, like, there's gotta be something there that we're missing. And it's like that divine parents coming together, that hierogamic kind of thing, you know?
It is, because look at all of the teachings in religion. It's really kicked feminine to this curb. There's only the whore and then the Holy Mother, you know, but it's only one aspect, and she's only good for birthing, you know, and her wisdom doesn't come through as much, you know, and everything about a lot of religious sectors is about kicking the feminine out. It's like only men are priests, only men are in charge. And the whole concept of the feminine being part of the two, the whole, you know, if you rip the mother off of the grid of teachings and that holy womb energy, you will suffer. We will all suffer, and we have been suffering. Humanity suffering. If it's not starvation on one end, it's mental illness on another. You can have everything in the world and you're totally insane, you know, and it's because distortion is distortion any way you put it. There's no going around it. There's no quick fixes. You've got to get back to the root, the source energy, the source, the goddess.
I find it funny as well when you said the root, you took me to understanding of ayahuasca. And I thought about the other day, if we're going to call Sophia Sophia, I find it interesting because you do meet a mother aspect. And there is something about like the consciousness of plant life.
Yes.
And it's just like, it is like it's alive. It feels like a mother, you know, like she's wrapping you in her love when you really, but the thing is that our consciousness is not high enough for the most part to really have that communication. And that's why the industry to keep us asleep is so like such a multi-billion-dollar industry, because there is it's an agenda to keep us asleep, right?
There is, yeah.
Like, insights.
I want to talk about. I would love for you to mention, if you want to, anything about plant medicine that you know about, or if you feel called. If you don't, we'll just talk about plants in general and how we've been pulled away from natural plant life as well.
Yeah, I think it also do with keeping us disconnected from the mother aspect. Because if you even look at all the Disney movies, where are the mothers?
Yeah.
You're always missing. You're always taught to disobey your family. They went against anything that would be good for us. And I'm not angry at that, because it obviously needed to happen for a reason. And I think it has to do with the Mandela effect, that Sophia might even have something to do with all this stuff that's being created to try to create, recorrect, and get us on that path that you were mentioning before. Because if you don't get on the right path, then you're going to be left in the other timeline. Because this is the mother and the father trying to recreate their children, recorrect their children without killing them and wiping them out. Like, you know, it's like obviously,
we could be
obviously like nature has an ability to wipe us all out.
I'm just laughing. I'm laughing because it'd be so easy. Boom, you know, we'd be all gone. Right? It's so easy.
That's why I just know we're so loved.
We've had so much mercy on us, and look what assholes people, you know, we are to the earth and to each other, and it's ridiculous. Like we're like
she knows, you know.
It's somewhat like an insane asylum. Like all these insane people are just in charge and want to destroy. They're hell-bent. And this is the distorted masculine. And hey, let me just say, I'm the first to love and support masculine. I believe in the healing, I would call it rehabilitation, because we're all getting corrections, you know, the feminine and the masculine. We're all going through somewhat of a energetic rehabilitation program. And that's kind of what the Ascension program is like, let's purge out all this distortion. We're purging it out. And that's why we feel all these emotions. We feel heightened sensitivity, and we're going through physical changes. And we are going from dense matter to light, you know, lightness, back to crystalline energy, and coming back to the code, to the goddess code. And as we are healing and restoring, it's a dirty, messy process. I wouldn't call it glamorous by any means. But the correction process, I believe it is really in order. You know, we are coming back.
Absolutely. Even the name Sophia has to do with magnetic sound frequency, like Sophia, Sophia. Like if you keep using that, it's actually really good for you as well. Someone's research that I've done from Lisa Renee's work from Energetic Synthesis, she discusses really in depth that Sophia's correction and in correlation to Christos, to Christ consciousness, and in connection to the sound frequency and what it can actually do for you. So there's a song the Song of Sophia. I think it has a lot to do with that 144,000 number. And has a lot to do with, because in the Bible, it actually says there's certain characteristics that this number of people, or whatever it is, symbolically or literally, that these qualities that they will have. And one of the qualities was that they will sing a song that only they can hear. And I find it interesting because who else could be more important to hear than the mother's voice singing to us? Can you hear the mother singing to you? Like, it's just like this lullaby, because if you look at all the Disney films as well, these people knew what they were doing indirectly, purposely, or they did not, or they didn't know consciously what they were doing, but it was being created through them to use the goddess archetype for these princesses. For them to have the voice to sing like Snow White. These different things that are they're small points, like there's small directional points of the goddess and the mother like being there but not being there. It's
the maiden, mostly the maiden,
right? And so the music has a lot to do with it, and us using our voice for proper, which is why I think they've really love to get the girls that sing beautifully in the industry crazy songs, because it's distracting versus the healing tones and frequencies of Sophia's wisdom coming through an activated being. So also, when we look at the word philosophical, these people understood the personification of wisdom. And so she's also related to the Aeons. So you're familiar with the Aeons. I'd like to give a description of the Aeons, but for the purposes of like not getting too much into each detail for every little thing, I just want to go over some things that it's related to, so that way you would know this.
I love your notes, girl. I think they're great.
Thank you. I have so many of them that like I really would love. Yeah, so we have a lot to talk about, girl.
Share on.
So the goddess Sophia is a mystical, and let's see. So who is she? It could be related to Isis, to Aphrodite, to Ishtar, to Ma'at, to Hathor, to Quan Yin, to the White Buffalo. They're all connected because in different lifetimes she walked, and these are initiations that these beings, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, they all walked, and they walked with her wisdom. And it also has to do with the dragons. So dragons have a lot to do with Sophia. Why do you think they're making Game of Thrones right now? It's all relative, because either way, even if these people that are making these movies, things, and they know what they're doing, that's even better. But if they don't, that just shows you how significant these things being created are, because they're happening as a synchronicity, showing that we're being contacted. If you pay attention to the details and a bigger, greater picture of what's happening, you will see that there's like a divine thing going on, like a whole plan going on, even when it sucks, right?
It's interesting to think that, that either it's the distortion of it, or like a lot of the movies, so that you think a lot of things aren't real, right? Like it's like, it's like a fantasy instead of that it's part of reality.
Confusing, right?
It's a distortion, so everything is twisted. So it's our job. I always say we're unwinding. This is the long journey of unwinding slowly and surely. And the goddess, she is that circular. It's like the what is that? You go into this little maze. I forgot what it's called, but I've done it so many times and I love it. You go inside and you meditate, and it's a little it's like a circular.
A labyrinth?
The labyrinth, yes, the labyrinth. and it always leads back. So we're kind of in this labyrinth, is how I see it in my mind's eye, and we've got lost in it, you know, as a society, as our oneness. We got lost in that, and now we're sort of going, okay, we're realizing how lost we got. Now it's time to find our way back home. Now we need to go back, because a lot of the maze has been distorted, and it's up to us to really go inside, use our intuition too. It's like, remember, you know the way back. It's not all for nothing. You have that key code inside of you. It's about activating those light codes. As we illuminate those codes within us, they start to permeate this remembering. And we're here to activate each other, because as I activate my light codes, you know, and you activate your light codes, when we go places, we actually activate within others. Mm-hmm. So this activation is contagious, and that's also why, you know, people.
Why do you think they keep us powerful? They keep women the way they keep them, because wow, if they knew, that's, you know, we are very powerful, and it's not about women being more powerful. It's just a fact of the matter.
It's just, it's we need to walk side by side with the divine masculine as a divine feminine, and we need to get back our rightful place. And people can say, well, there's women's rights, you can work, da 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 da. It's not about that, guys. It's not about what you consider those kind of rights. This is about divinity. This is about bringing back our holy space and place in the cosmos. You know, as the divine feminine, Sophia and Shakti and the goddess has been ripped from her rightful place in the cosmos and has fallen. Oh
my God, Radhaa, I'm looking at my notes, and literally what you just said about the spiral, it's right here. Galactic Starr Goddess, spiral galaxies.
Oh, I love that.
That's what I love about you, is because you get it, and you don't even, like, you get it. You just get it already. And yeah, it's exactly what it is. That's funny. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
we're so in tune. I love that. You know, I love that. We all have our different ways of interpreting things, and that's why it's good that we come together, because we're stronger together. We're stronger together when we unite, when we share our voices, when we have a collective conversation. We're illuminating more light, and each one of us has our activated code. So when we speak, we're also activating. It's an activation. And so the listeners are receiving, and that's only if they want to. Everything's always up to free will. It's up to your higher consciousness if you want to receive, you know. You can say no thanks, and I want to go do something else now. But you know, it's always up to us. For me, I love receiving codes. Like, I'll go into the forest and I'll see a light glimmer in the trees, and I just know there's an activation for me. Anytime I see those lights, like I understand light language, like visually. It's like the light communicates to me visually. And so I've always understood that light is communicating with me, showing up in different patterns and things like that. And then I understand that as I'm looking at that, I'm getting a download. It's activating. It's not even part of my conscious mind. And I understand that my ego can't understand what's going on, but I know that there's a activation happening. I understand that I'm here to receive that, and then it will process through me, my dense being, you know.
How interesting how they call them archangels. Maybe the archangels of perception, which I believe that what is a photon? An intelligent light messenger particle. What is light? You know, these intelligent messenger particles coming in, and if we can receive them, because that's what Kabbalah means, to receive these emanations of light coming down, like, you know, if we can just receive them, whether it's in the light or meditating in the dark, you know, there are definitely codes for us. But yeah, I look at the archangels in that way, because there's different associations with what they mean. The L's, which is electricity. It just makes sense. Like, if you put it together, it's like amazing. Because then you also look at the word plasma. How does that relate to pleroma? Blood plasma, you know, it's in our DNA. We have junk DNA, but they're just offline.
I don't know about that.
We go back online, right?
I'm
yeah,
like,
just keep that junk.
I'm here activating my junk DNA, y'all. I don't know about you, but
Wow. So it also connects to the web of life, you know? It's her web. She's spinning her web. That's her. She's also the great serpent. She's also the dragon. She's also so many different aspects of the archetype of like nature. It goes back to it all the time.
I love that, because the divine feminine is part of all those aspects, you know, the dark and the light. And she has that darkness and that darkness that people are afraid of with the divine mother, because her, and I think sometimes the old patriarchy masculine was afraid of the mother's darkness, because her darkness can also be all consuming, you know, and that I've experienced that darkness a few times, and it's been such a liberating experience. I had this experience when I was, right before I left LA. I had to clean up a lot of my old beliefs about who I should be, and all of these the programming stuff that was going on. I was still fighting it, you know, and so I had this I had this like session, and I met the dark goddess, and boy, did she cleaned out my heart. Like, I mean, her fire was eating up the dragon fire was eating up this heart, all this stuff in my heart that was not meant to be there anymore, that I was holding on to, so I could let go. And when we surrender to that, it's not the darkness, like demonic darkness, it's the darkness of the divine feminine, like the womb darkness where creation happens, right? If we're filled with garbage, how can we create something new? So I had to get a cleansing, and tears were coming down out of my eyes, and I was just like, this is so overwhelming. I feel like I'm dying right now. It was a death process, but it was such an important death process, because it opened up so much space for me to be more in conduit, you know, rather than holding all that stuff. And it was very painful, but it also was very liberating. Like, I was aching and crying, and, you know, kind of in fetal position going through this process. And I can tell you that the dark mother is nothing but love, you know, so it's nothing to be afraid of. If anything, if she comes into your life, it's the greatest gift, you know. And the goddess comes in so many different forms. The gift is always there. It's not for us to judge what that is, you know, or how she should look in that moment. And so understanding, and I felt the power of the divine goddess, like the power was all consuming. And she basically was saying, like, surrender to me all the way. Cause I still had one foot out. I was like, I don't know.
We could become her, you know, when we really fully understand what's going on here, we can become her. Like, there's been times where I didn't know who I was channeling. I always thought, oh, maybe it's this archangel, or it's maybe this, and I could never figure it out. I never felt comfortable calling any of my channelings someone else until I realized that, wow, I feel like I'm the mother of all creation. Sometimes I want to cry. Because of the pain. And it's like, and I think that's her, because she's calling for us to find that nourishment for ourselves and for others, and like to really heal and let go of what doesn't need to be there, so we can, you know, love ourselves the way she loves us. If she didn't love us the way she did, you know, this is also about the father, but right now the father still is an aspect.
Well, the father's right there, not going anywhere.
The mama, that materialism, that materialized, because that's what we're abusing right now.
Yeah, the material,
ma'ater, material, mat, terra, you know, terrestrial. It's all, it goes together.
And ma'at, so I love ma'at too.
They're what?
Oh, I love ma'at too, because she has the codes of ethics, you know, and
41 laws.
Yeah, 41 laws, and they're hardcore, but one of them is like, be generous with others. Like, don't be so selfish. Don't be so consumed with this earth that you don't know who you are, you know?
Or who she is,
because you can get lost in this like, oh, I'm going to seek out material gains. And yeah, you should do great things. You should be abundant. You should manifest a beautiful roof over your head and food and great things like that to serve, be of service to yourself and to your family. But to make that as God, you know, to worship things as if they're greater than the divine is a foolish act, because you can't take anything with you when you die. In fact, the more you're attached to these things, the harder it is for your spirit to actually transcend. It actually gets stuck in an astral in between realm. It gets stuck, and I'm like, I don't want that.
Why do you think they push that? That's why they push materialism so much, and that's why, like, that's part of the biggest problem. I feel like is materialism, and every spiritual aspect would tell you not to worship material, but to love it,
appreciate.
By the way, I just
gratitude.
On a funnier, lighter note, I just realized why I couldn't hear you. I had these in backwards. I was like, I can hear you so good now. I just thought that would be a little funny moment.
I love it. I love it. It's like, yeah, it's so much fun.
Yeah. So you had mentioned how it's all love, right? So it is a totality and essence of Godhead. So the perfect fullness of our Christ light. And so I think it's really important to touch base on what does Christ mean, right? How does it relate to, I want to look at this really fast because
I love my little encyclopedia over here.
Yeah. It's important because it came from an ancient language. And you think I have it memorized because I've read it so many times, but I have it. Just give me a second.
This is passion, people. This is passion. When you have passion, you're just like, let's do this. Let's do this. Just so you guys know, it's like 11:30 here, and we were like, maybe we'll do it tomorrow. And, you know, with the passion, we're like, let's just do it right now. Why? Because passion, and that's the divine feminine passion energy that pushes you forward, you know. I just love it. I love it when you have that spontaneous desire to share, and you share from your heart because you know that somebody's going to watch it and they're going to get something, and we're here to share information.
Yes, ma'am. So the Christ is not man. Christos, the Sanskrit word Christos came from the ancient Indic language of Hinduism and the Vedas. When translated, it's Christ. The Sanskrit word Christos means crystal clear, pure, immaculate energy, crystal clear, pure nuclear energy light body. The inference to the crystal clear, pure energy. So that has to do with the matter and light coming together, right? Like the Star of David. Also, it has a lot to do with us learning how to regenerate the body, because the body is connected to the earth. And so when we connect to those crystal grids that are in us in the earth and we're synced up with it, then that's when the magic really happens.
And the earth chakras too. Which,
go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, we have earth grids that have AI connected to them. So they're like blocked. They're like blocked with, and they're running AI energy codes. These are sort of like pain bodies that they're creating. And this pain body, so when it doesn't let up, also like with a war, when the man bleeds on the ground and the blood causes a distortion. It's because it's blood from pain. It's not like, here's my menstrual blood, I'm going to give it to you because I love you. It's like I suffer death, you know, and that dark energy gets programmed into the earth, and it causes distortion and pain. And that's why a lot of earth needs people to start creating a relationship. So like where I'm at right now in the mountains, I have a relationship with this piece of earth. It called me to come here, and I work with the earth energies here. It's sort of a vortex. It's a crystal mountain, so it has crystalline vortex and is activated partially because I came here to activate it, you know, and my mother did some too. So wherever you are, you can help the ley lines of the earth, planting crystals into the ground, clearing crystals, doing kind of like shamanic healing or prayers, or, you know, there's many different things you can do to recreate balance. So we're all here to be part of this. It's not just a few people, you know, doing all the work. It's about all of us coming together and being responsible. Like, hey, I got this grid taken care of. Go over there, take care of your grid. You know, we're all in it together. It's one unit, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's not separate. Like, it, as we're seeing, like, a lot of the earth changes too, I think we're understanding, like, it's not separate. What happens over there happens here. The ripple effects, you know, when there's a natural disaster and people get hurt, we need to help them out. We need to send out food or supplies. Like, everyone gets affected by everything. We're not just in isolated worlds of our own. We are co-creating actively together and through our intention.
Absolutely. Yes.
And you're going to say, Alanna, sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I need to spend more time in nature. I was just thinking, like, wow, yeah. Because I can imagine how I am now. Like, it's a miracle that I'm in this position, because I have been very distracted here. But every moment I had, I gave it a chance to connect more. You know, I paid attention that I was being contacted by nature, by consciousness, by the sun, by the trees. And, like, I knew it was real, you know, and it wasn't just I was making up. But if I say I am Sophia, it's because I represent her, because I'm saying, like, you know, I'm listening to her earth heart. Earth and heart and her is all the same thing. It all is the same word, you know?
Yes, I love that.
So I just feel like it's all, like, part of that, you know, it's activating those codes, and we all do have little pieces to give each other, because that's part, I think that has to do with exchanging. Does this make sense to you? The exchanging of the milk and honey mana amongst each other. That crystal pure energy that we're supposed to be exchanging with each other, because that's what awakens things.
It is an activation, baby.
An activation, baby. Yeah. So let's see, what else can I pull up while we're talking about this? It has a lot to do with the diamond heart, the Sophianic language, light language. Has a lot to do with that.
I like the diamond. The diamond codes came to me a few years ago. So we all get, I think, when we get activated at different times with different codes, the diamond heart, the diamond codes. I was in Mount Shasta, and I'm like, I'm getting diamond codes here, guys. I was like, I'm getting diamond codes activated inside of me. But every time, yeah, it's like, you see that those are pieces. So, like, when you say that, and then it activated my memory of the diamond codes, all the pieces come together when we come together and have these conversations, right? Because no one has it all. Like, we have pieces, and we need to put all the puzzle pieces together. And we can only do that when we unite and consciously co-create that. And then that's an activation. It's like we consciously just put those pieces together.
Right.
So beautiful.
So we're rising up Sophia. So we're, you know, as her body heals, our bodies heal, which is why I think it has a lot to do with regeneration of the body, and why the Bible has a lot to do with how the body actually functions and how to heal it. The Christ, the Christos, also an oil that's produced up your spine that goes to your pineal and produces the oil that regenerates your body as well. The anointing, it's science and it's spirit. You know, it's like the full function of the body versus the spiritual aspect of it. Because when we really look at those spiritual aspects, the body's changing. The
Kundalini rising, and that's an interesting thing, because I mean, as you read in a piece that I wrote, I had an incident with my spine, you know,
right,
which was like, oh, well, is that interfering? But I think it's about our conscious willpower and desire to override these other violations, so to speak.
Yeah. Violation of our innocence, our divine holy innocence. It causes us to turn cold and to not know who to trust, and then it's harder for us to connect deeper.
Yes. I mean, and I think I'll just share that little piece just so the viewers know what I'm talking about. But I had an incident quite a few years ago in Los Angeles when I went to a doctor for a checkup. And basically what happened was something that I was not expecting. I got sort of in a hypnotic state, and I knew I didn't want to be there because something weird was happening. And the doctor he was very swift, and he pulled out a very long needle, very, 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 like the size of my arm long. I was like, where did you get that from, and what's going on? And I kind of couldn't.
That one can see.
Sorry about that.
I kind of couldn't move in that moment. And then basically the short part of the story is I got an injection into my spine. And I was always left wondering what had happened to me. Why did I get this injection? What did it mean? How did it change my chemistry? And how is it interfering in my process of ascension? Because our spinal fluid is very important. And did that change my molecular structure, my DNA, all kinds of stuff, and that was a really traumatic event that happened to me. I thought of it many times, like it was like, it felt like a rape against my will, somebody violating my personal body, not giving me the understanding, also leaving me clueless as to what happened. But, we are here to override a lot of these violations, right? So we're here to repair and to regenerate and to recreate. And so, yeah, bringing in more light codes. And you said earlier, the light, what did you say about Sophia? Like the nectar, the light that comes in.
The milk and honey mana.
Milk and honey mana, but there was something earlier that you said, and that's really what a lot of the healing I do is like bringing down that light into my crown chakra, into my body to repair it, and to help heal those places, to help bring balance.
The emanations of light,
yes, I bring in that light into my body, and you can pull it in. You want to consciously pull that in. So when you're in meditation, you just think of bringing that light force energy into your crown, into your body, into your being, into all your chakras, filling your entire body with this light, and it starts to heal and regenerate your bodies. So, we've all had different, health issues, or even things like I just talked about where that could have affected my ability, my Kundalini. I don't really know. But
I think that we learned that our Kundalini, it kind of like, I've had a meditation experience where I saw, dragons, and I've been told I have dragons around me. And so I really thought about it. When we go into meditation and our Kundalini rises and we have that activation of the pineal, you would think that we are an aspect of the dragon awakening, the one eye inside of us, that is in correlation with Sophia.
The Kundalini rising, it is the knowledge
of the earth being an animal kind of thing, like, and we're connected with that, and it changes our DNA structure. When we're activated, we actually experience the physical. We have like more of a mastery over the physical.
Yes.
Than more so than us just walking
dead.
Yeah, walking dead.
It's alchemizing the spirit and body. So we want to alchemize and pull the spirit, the divine, into our body. We want to be, the living beings who are part of, we want to embody that divinity within us. And so we can all be conduits for the divine. It's not just like, just one person can be like divine, it's like, no, it's all of our birthright to be divine. We can, and we are, and we need to call that back into ourselves. And that part of that is honoring the divine feminine. Without honoring that feminine, you can't really be divine, because you're totally lopsided in your energy field and your beliefs. And it's quite damaging. So
yes. Yes. Well, we could talk about the other aspects of it too, about when you merge the feminine and masculine, which is your Christos Sophia aspect of your being. I think that's when we create that Hieros Gamos, the sacred union. First, it begins inside of us to create our own flame.
Yes.
And we ignite others, and we then became one flame together. So it is us, activating those two sides, and then meeting people who are whole and complete in themselves to make, to really radiate that light that needs to be here to heal.
That's so important. I think, when we talk about twin flames, we have the twin flame inside of us. We are masculine and feminine already. Like, we are part feminine, part masculine. And I think that's so important to understand, and that we also need to balance that. That's kind of like why it's like Shakti, Shiva, Sophia, is the divine aspect of the Godhead, because you need two to be one, but you need to be whole in one to be two. Does that make any sense? Did I just give myself a riddle here?
I'll have to go back and listen to that again, just to figure out if it's really a riddle. I was just looking at John Lam Lash's book, Not in His Image. He says that their vision of Sophia, the Gnostics, their vision of Sophia, the fallen goddess, embodied in the earth, as an ecological myth that resonates deeply with our growing intuition of Gaia, the living planet. The Gnostic message for humanity may well present the ancient taproot of deep ecology, a social movement that asserts the intrinsic value of the earth apart from its use for human purposes. And so the religious component of the environmental movement has yet to be defined, but it might now come to expression in the Gnostic perspective framed by the Sophianic vision of those ancient visionaries. So, like I said, like, this Sophia stuff is not new, but why does it feel new?
Because it's being renewed.
Yeah, it's being renewed. And I found her, like, by myself, searching about the Holy Spirit, because I was realizing that I had gifts of the Holy Spirit. I don't feel like I have them as strong as I did 2 years ago. I've had some traumatic things happen since then that kind of threw me off. But when I was really in flow, like, I can discern spirit really well. And, like, I was speaking in light language and all these things. And I think that when I started learning about the Holy Spirit, it related to Sophia. I found Sophia. And then I found people that I knew that wrote books about it and, were speaking about it. And that's so profound, because there's something about the fact that individuals are waking up and then coming together with these synchronicities that show that she's really making an effort here to get us to communicate together.
Like, wake up, y'all.
Yeah, wake up.
Wake up, because it's time.
So also, it's funny because the Book of Wisdom, there's also something called the Album of Wisdom that's also available online. But the Book of Solomon, he spoke of wisdom often as well. So he kept wisdom very close. And, everybody can have knowledge, but if you don't have wisdom to do the right thing with the knowledge, then, we're still going in the same loophole.
Well, I think there's something about
gone through a lot of things that I think that having the right wisdom right now makes sense.
And I was just going to say, it's something that you also earn. You earn it by going through those ring of fire, those dark night of the souls, the pain that most people want to avoid and throw under the rug. And it's the courage to face that. And kind of like when I went through that vision quest where I had to burn out my heart so I could renew it to the divine. And I was like, I'm devoting my life to this, can't half-ass it anymore. You have to go all in or all out. That's kind of how it is. You can't mess. I mean, for me, that's how I feel. That's the call I got, was like, if you're going to do this, go all the way. Otherwise, don't do it. We're going to, I feel very lucky because I feel very connected to the goddess, and I have a lot of, time. I've had a lot of time here to work with this energy and space. And that was a gift. And when you tap into that energy, when you really are in devotion, I want to tell you guys, the gifts you get are incredible. It's not just about monetary. It's like I've been gifted so much. And that's because I think part of that was like the devotion, because I said yes. And when you say yes with all a devotion in your heart, amazing things happen, miracles happen. They really do. And it's astounding. It's actually, when I think about it, I'm like, whoa, it's astounding.
It's funny you just said that, because I want to read this quote that I got from the Album of Wisdom. It says that I preferred her wisdom of immortality to scepter and throne, the prestige and power of the world, and deemed riches, becoming a multi-billionaire, nothing in comparison with her. Nor did I liken any priceless gem to her, because all the gold in view of her and little sand in her silver is to become accounted mire, M-I-R-E. Beyond full measure of magnificence, I loved her, and I chose to have wisdom rather than mundane, because the splendor of her never yields the sleep of carbon 666 death. Well, yeah, because so like now is the time to be still and know, right? So the reason why that where it says carbon 666 death is because apparently that number is when man's at his most fleshly, trying to be God, but not really aware of the higher spirit behind what they're doing. Like they're
well, you can get immortality. You can. It's available now, but it's not. But it's not really immortality, because there is a hard blow where where I said that timeline just goes boop, and the dragon comes, the divine feminine comes and eats it back into the womb. Like, no, you're not going to get off grid. You can do that for a little while. You can go down that slippery slope. You can explore it, the transhumanism thing, where you're going to upload consciousness, and then you're going to you can download it to an inorganic body later on. That's for billionaires, or people in very elite positions, or if you're invited into the right circles, and you can have immortality.
All those things,
which I say no.
There's so much that people don't know, and that's why I love talking to you, because I know you know a lot, and it's good that we talk about them. So it's crazy what's available.
I mean, it's not a joke. These are real things that are going on. Hard to believe. And, I think, I don't watch a lot of TV and stuff, but I think a lot of it's like mocked in film, so that it seems so surreal that it doesn't seem real, right? That, oh, this is a joke, or this is fantasy, when in reality it's happening. But you can get onto that program. You can get your consciousness uploaded and download it into another vessel. But your divine soul, if your heart chakra is not activated to the divinity within and connected to the divine, you're I don't want to say, the F word, but you're so F word, because you are off grid, you're offline, and you no longer have your true life force energy. You can have memories of your family, but if your heart's not awakened and it's dead, that means nothing. None of it means anything. You're now just a certified sociopath.
The key is to get our heart to be light. Like the goddess Ma'at, she teaches, or her lesson is that if your heart is to be weighed in your end, then how heavy will it be? If it's light, it'll be like Kali cutting off the heads of men.
Well,
because she doesn't care what color skin you are. When the mom comes, her wrath is going to be coming, and it's like you have to do the work to clear out, because otherwise, it's like, what are we doing here? What are we really doing here if you're not going to transmute all those things that you're experiencing?
Yeah, that's the thing, is that transhumanism is going to be pitched as this great shortcut. There's so many possibilities, and it's going to make your life easier and better. Actually, it's completely taking you off of the grid with the divine. This is a big time where you have to make the choice, because whatever choice you make at this time is going to dictate your timeline, and I'm not joking, guys. The timeline is so real, so serious. Like it's also kind of funny, but it's also so not funny, because I don't want to get, you don't want to get stuck on a timeline with artificial intelligence, and now you're actually nothing. You're nothing. I mean, if your soul needs that experience, go ahead. I understand. I'm not here to judge anyone's choice. People I know have made those choices, I'm not here to judge. And in the end, we all go back into the bowl and, grind, mix it up and go back to the divine eventually. But depending on how it plays out, there are some souls that don't. You get completely deleted, and you don't get a second chance. You don't get to go back. And this is not, me like telling people what to do. I'm just saying there are options in life, and you have to choose wisely. People think right now what's going on is that people, man thinks that man can outdo the divine, that man is greater than the divine. And that's where the fall of man happens. And that's where the fall of many happens. And if you don't get your butt up and stand for what's right, and stand for organic life,
Yes.
If you don't stand for yourself, for your loved ones, trust me, it's going to be a horrifying path. You can live forever, or quite some time on these false matrix grids, but boy, it's going to be a tough thing to come out of. It's going to be a big payback, and you are basically saying F you to the divine. And there's it's not about punishment and all this stuff. It's just more suffering. It's just more unnecessary suffering. Why don't we believe that there is something better, that this is one experience, and that there is more? We're infinite beings. We're infinite. So why would this be the only experience? Why would we be so afraid to face that divine? But if you do so many shitty things, and you're really damaging people, and you're harming them, you would be afraid to face the divine, because there are consequences for every action. For every single thing you do, you have to pay that back times 10, positive and negative. And it's not about punishment again. It's about, just law. It's a law of cause and effect. It's
I have to say that every time I close my eyes, I thought earlier that I was just seeing things, but I'm being shown a lock, like a lock like this. Does that mean anything to you?
Well, there means two things to me. One is that we're opening and awakening the key to our divinity, back to the divine. But there's a portal opening. That's what it means.
That's what I thought earlier. I literally was going to say something about it, but now that you just said it again, wow.
We're from the visions that I've been getting and the information and stuff, we're going through a cosmic portal. This world is going through a different way, a different portal, and we are going through a new path. This path is bringing us back to that, what you're talking about, the cosmic plasma, or you can say the word, but it's bringing us back to that energy, that essence that is activating and awakening us. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. And it's not like you get a second chance on this one, and that's why we're going through more of the purging, because we're going through this portal. The key code, it's been opened. The vortex, the portal is open. We're going through it. And it's up to us where we navigate our own individual souls and collectively. But I would take this opportunity to do everything in my ability to go down that path of the divine. That's my choice, So
yeah, I just look through my notes too, because every time I find something, it's so in alignment with what we're talking about. It's because I'd say I've been planning this discussion for my lifetime so far. This is what I've been doing all this time. It's making sense. I'm supposed to have these conversations with people like you. It's so beautiful, because it says that and this just is one page, it says,
Mm-hmm.
the issues facing man and women, man and men. Why do you believe Sophia is above all other names? I was asking myself this. Sophia in regards to Eve and Lilith, the mother, this whole story about Lilith and Eve and how the distortion of women came about with those two aspects of mother. Sophia's heart song. And do you know what this is about? I put 144,000 and Sophia. And so Yeldabaoth, Archons, Demiurge, Ishi Ayahuasca. Inorganic intelligence, organic intelligence. The feminine principle reconnecting with divine potential. Says, I am Sophia. So, and then that's why if you go look online and try to look up Sophia, you're going to find everything about the robot. You look up Milky Way ingredients, you're going to get everything about the candy bar.
And Isis.
Everything that are divine, these are the words. You should look at all the things that they created that got popular a long time ago, that became popular now. Because you're going to find out that those words have to do with big things that we need to know.
And they dumbed it down or created distortion around distortion.
And it's like, and that's why we feel so strongly about certain things and activate. Just like when I said diamond, you like, oh my God, diamond. Because like it's locked inside of us, because memory has to do with spirit, has to do with water, has to do with the fact that the house has to do with the ocean and that, marine life. And it's all connected because I think it has in the water breaking, so I think it's a cycle of the earth, water, elements, sun, light, like this creation energy. Yes. Has so much to do with it.
And that's also why they're covering the sun, like spraying it. And that's, you can see, there's articles, Bill Gates. I mean, it's been going on, the chemtrails. It's really to cover the codes. So that, because the light codes are coming in, the sun is activating our codes. And,
keep talking, okay? I'm just going to grab my charger.
Absolutely. So we've been having chemtrails and different things, where you can look in the sky and you can see that the sky is covered with these trails, and they created, this is a conspiracy theory. We're just helping the weather. I mean, gosh, I don't remember, flying through the air and seeing how weird it looks. The sky does not look like the sky anymore. And then I saw an article, Bill Gates is going to be funding, more of this chemtrail so it can cover the sun from the harmful rays. Well, those rays are activating us. We're not getting the proper activation, and that's part of hindering us from evolving.
The Assyrians, I believe they were working with Sophia's energy, and I believe that Assyrians is sun worship, they were, say, worship of the sun. They used it for their healings, and I think that's where hieroglyphs probably came from, because Hyros Gamos, Hyros, it just kind of makes sense that there's something that we get from the sun too, not just plants.
We need that. We need that light and that life force energy. It's all been distorted, you guys. So we need to come back into our divine knowing rather than this hypnotic infiltration, that we've all been through. And it's just bizarre. It's bizarre that we all fall for it. I mean, listen, I know what it's like to be sleeping. I've been a sleepwalker for a long time. And it's actually pain and suffering that was also a catalyst for change within me and also within others. Sometimes that pain can really push you to ask, what else? The things I thought were going to bring me all this happiness and joy and success are not everything that they were promised to be, and that they are leaving me feeling more empty than I was before, So we are waking up, you guys. We are awakening, and we need to be actively co-creating and helping each other from this sleepy amnesia, because now is the time.
Sophia, Christ consciousness, heart intelligence to see rightly the invisible, right? To be present on the right hand of the Father. You know, to really get in touch with that, you know, and pay attention. This is the collective healing its trauma, reclaiming our Christ consciousness, reclaiming our sovereignty. And we see these different ways of thinking coming out in a lot of different great teachers and authors. And you know, I think they make us think that the Bible is everything, but it's not. We all are all these prophetic beings.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Oh my goodness gracious! I don't even know how to turn that on. Oh, okay. Unbelievable.
Yeah, just hit the down button for the. Yeah, there you go.
So I was going to say something because you talked about Eve, right? And Garden of Eden, and that distortion. There was so much distortion there too. Like all the teachings have so much distortion in them. And the goddess, Goddess Lilith. So I just wanted to share just really quickly with you guys, because in the Galactic Goddess, she's one of the goddesses. And I would love to just read a little bit about this.
I would love to do I wouldn't hear totally, but I would love to do a whole video on Lilith, just because there's so much there.
Okay, we could do that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
we can do that, but
we can sit here all night. I love this.
I know. So, but I just want to say, like, yeah, Goddess Lilith was a nonconformist, and so she was written out. She didn't want to stand for saying that, like, she came out of Adam's rib. So, yeah, you know what? There's a whole section of this, and I thought that was so interesting that they demonized her and made her into a demon. But as all the feminines have been distorted, she's just one of them. Anyways, perhaps this is a good time to end this, conversation, and we can circle back because we've shared so much already. I don't want to overwhelm people. I want to thank you guys for joining us. I know this was lengthy, and we just love to share with you. It brings us so much joy and happiness to just share. If you guys have any thoughts or comments, please post them below. I'll put Alanna's information. She's an incredible hypnotherapist. And I'm sending you so much love, you guys. Thank you for joining us. We are here to help activate. And we're all here to help activate. So much love. Thank you, Alanna, for coming on.
You gotta.
Bye, guys.